Yo, we needed this chapter. We get something we've been waiting for. Someone gets crucified. Everyone cries. We get the big man marked by flames news. And more happens in this insane chapter, so make sure to stay tuned for that. One of the most satisfying ones, to be sure. Chill the parking with it and smash that like button if you enjoy seeing these One Piece reviews on the channel and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the Nakama if you haven't already by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future One Piece videos and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So, this chapter is called Please Praise Me, and believe me, it will hit hard when we get to that part. This chapter starts with some parts of the end of Robin's flashback. We see the same events but from different character viewpoints. We see that Spandine, father of Spandam, talked to news reporters and framed Robin for sinking the marine battleships and even for, believe it or not, destroying the evacuation ship. What scum! Not only do the Marines do such unjust things, they have the gall to frame a young kid and make her look like the devil to people. Honestly, Oda is a genius the way he makes us feel for Robin and everything she's been through. I really hope that Robin gets revenge against the people who wronged her so bad. We then see a kid Robin running away through multiple places. We see her looking at a map book in a bookstore and secretly adding Ohara to the map. Gotta love how she continues to rebel in such ways after everything she's been through. We even see Robin brought to the level where she had to eat food from the garbage next to a dog. All of this is very valuable information because we knew it must have been hard for her, but I don't know if we ever thought too hard about her day-to-day reality at the time. But seeing her have to eat from the garbage takes it to another level for sure. We also see people's reactions to Robin. They say she's already as smart as a scholar and she does not have human emotions. Just look at this amount of money. Take up your guns and hunt her down. Don't be fooled by her young appearance. Have no mercy. She uses some unknown sorcery. What is the Marine doing? She is an enemy of the world. This is how the world felt about her, and she thought everyone that cared for her, like Saul and her mom Olivia, were dead. No one was thinking critically, they just selfishly looked at the money and dehumanized her by saying she had no emotions and used sorcery because that allowed them to show zero pity towards a kid without even feeling guilty about it. And of course, Robin was far from emotionless and it all hit her really hard. In fact, one day she was thinking of jumping from a cliff and ending it all, but her mom and Saul's words stopped her. Robin's tragic flashback ends with Robin running away trying to laugh as we hear many voices curse her. So she puts on a strong front despite all the pain overflowing inside her. She remembers Olivia saying, "Live, Robin," and Saul saying, "You must survive, Robin." And this low of hers that Oda is expertly depicting here will make the high of the Robin and Saul's eventual reunion all the sweeter. At least it was supposed to until we got that crazy cliffhanger about Saul not getting up, but more on that soon. Now we jump back to the present and the Great Eric ship finally docks at the village's pier. The pier is surrounded by sea clouds that act like water. You can understand why Elbaf sounds like Fable spelled backwards, because Oda really used his imagination with this place. Luffy's group also arrives at the village in a flying rowboat with island clouds attached to its oars. Gerd, Goldberg, and the Thousand Sunny are in the ship too. Luffy says, "Whoa," and Usopp says, "Look at this, amazing." And it looks like Oda will be giving these two in particular a lot of focus here in Elbaf, and I gotta say it's about time for Usopp, and of course Luffy's the main character. But with Usopp, he's literally living one of his biggest dreams right now, and I love to see it. The Giants say that's a Sval, aka Mist ship. This ship uses the buoyancy of island clouds to move forward. Usopp says, "Amazing, this country keeps surprising us." Lilith says, "Current climate within Elbaf is perfect. Island cloud, sea cloud, bubble, rainbow, and hover. All technology can coexist on this island." And I don't know about you, but it's sounding to me like Oda could be hinting that Lilith will be staying here after the Elbaf arc. Let me know what you think. Everyone then gathers in the middle of the village. Nami notices Robin's haircut, which has been the biggest deal lately in the manga, if you've been keeping up. But to be fair, she does look great. Robin, in her turn, notices that Nami and the others are dressed quite fittingly for Elbaf. We then get a much needed and comparatively long conversation between Hiruden and Luffy. Remember, Hiruden and his crew are part of the Grand Fleet, so seeing Luffy here for them is a very big deal. Hiruden introduces the Straw Hat crew to his new Giant Warrior Pirates crew. However, Road, we see, has been fittingly tied up with iron chains and even crucified, we're told. Now, I assume the translator meant crucified since that practice has been mentioned in Elbaf already, and crucified is not a word as far as I know, but I won't go too deep into that until we know more when we get the official translation. Either way, it's clear that they are not happy with Road, and he does need to be punished after doing what he did to the Straw Hats, especially because his captain is a self-proclaimed subordinate of the crew he mistreated. Is there any way you can insult your captain more than that? Luffy says, "It's been a while, Hiruden." Hiruden responds, "I have heard all about your actions. To think you are one of the Yonko now. Way to go, big boss. Later, I will give you a more formal introduction, but these four all belong to the new Giant Warrior Pirates, one of your subordinate crews." By the way, let's just appreciate the fact that Hiruden, a giant, called little old Luffy Big Boss. That's hilarious. Gerd, as we learned last chapter, likes Luffy and here comments, "Nice to meet you," with a heart. Luffy predictably repeats that he doesn't need subordinates, but Hiruden gives him the usual, "That's fine, we are doing this because we want to," and then he laughs. It's a win-win though for Luffy because Luffy doesn't need to get revenge if anyone messes with the Grand Fleet since he hasn't accepted them as his responsibility, but they're still helping him when they have the chance. But for instance, because Luffy hasn't taken them under his wing and promised to protect them, Oda makes it so that when someone like Shanks messes with Bartolomeo, and to be fair, Shanks is not the one that started it, but still, Luffy doesn't need to respond. Otherwise, it would slow the whole story down and complicate it too much every time one of his Grand Fleet members gets into a tussle. Hiruden mentions that the news of Big Mom being defeated has reached Elbaf too. Gerd says it's a shame, since she liked Linlin and used to be friends with her, but Linlin committed an unforgivable crime to Elbaf. And yeah, now that you think about it, Luffy must be a sort of hero in Elbaf for being associated with taking down their perceived enemy Big Mom. In the village, they're about to start a great feast, but Gerd notifies Robin specifically that Saul has come to wait at the school nearby the village. Saul wants to show Robin Elbaf Library, an homage to Ohara no doubt. Robin plans to go alone initially, but the whole Straw Hat crew chooses to go with her, so they postpone the feast. And nice of all of Robin's friends to have her back here, emotionally, especially considering how alone she was for so long. I feel like a lot of this chapter is showing how far Robin has come and how right she was not to jump off that cliff way back when because things got so much better. And she couldn't see that it would at the time. Gerd takes them on the Sval, and they fly to meet Saul. During the trip, Gerd explains that Saul teaches history to Elbaf children. Usopp is amazed to discover that warriors even work hard on learning. And honestly, I can totally see Robin doing something similar to Saul down the line when the adventure is over. She would make one awesome history teacher, no doubt. Gerd says that Saul Sensei focuses mainly on the history lessons. He also lectures about various books. We have arrived at the Warrior's Spring, and nearby is the Library of Owls. They arrive and there's a massive spring of water, so large it looks like a sea. Over it, we can see a huge house on top of an enormous branch, and there are some waterfalls falling from the branch to the spring. Nami is shocked, saying that's a whole beach. You gotta fit in those beach episodes somehow in anime, and this is a creative way to do it. Gerd points out that because of parts of trees fossilizing and stuff, there's sand here like a beach. The tides don't rise and fall, but there are waves anyways because of the waterfall. Nami says what we're all thinking, which is, so it's basically a sea. Luffy says, alright, let's go meet that guy, which just sounds funny because of how important the reunion with Saul has become, but it's so Luffy at the same time. Nami grabs his face and says, wait, Robin's reunion comes first. Robin, in what must be one of the sweetest, most wholesome moments in the story, says, oh, my heart is racing. It's so nice to see this side of her, especially since she's usually perceived as being so mature and guarded, especially in the beginning. Obviously, she's changed over time. It's refreshing seeing her be vulnerable and childlike in this chapter. Then we get that cliffhanger about Saul dying finally being addressed. A giant girl runs at them shouting that Saul has fallen and is not moving. He's on the beach and all the Straw Hat crew is shocked except for one person, Robin, who is laughing, believe it or not. She says, how silly. She walks through the beach and we see Saul lying face down on the beach. As Robin gets close to Saul smiling, he raises his head and roars at her. And if you don't remember, it's just like when they met in chapter 392. Saul starts laughing and Robin says, your laugh is still weird. So yes, Oda totally clickbaited us with that cliffhanger. Nothing is wrong with Saul at all. In fact, he says he's too awkward and didn't know what kind of face to make, so he tried to play a prank to surprise Robin. Honestly, it's such a nice detail, and I get it. Oda knows that there has been such a buildup to this reunion, so many years, so many emotions. It's hard not to get a bit nervous about it, and this is a way someone can act in such a situation. Then we get the payoff and emotional conversation between the two. Saul says how much Robin looks like her mother and that Vegapunk has relayed the voice of Ohara to the people of the world. We see a flashback panel where we see what happened with Saul after the Ohara incident. He doesn't appear to have been saved by Kuzan, as some might have thought. He woke up already in the sea, so his assumption is that the massive fire that destroyed Ohara melted through the ice where he was imprisoned. Because of this, he also suffered burn marks all over his body, so you see Saul could be our man marked by flames, who is the key to the final poneglyph, and getting us to the One Piece. Let me know what you think in the comments, but otherwise, it would seem like quite a big coincidence. Robin, who is now on top of Saul's hand, stops his speech. She says, "I don't want to talk about depressing things anymore. Saul, please praise me for being alive this long." There we have it, the title of the chapter, and after everything, like I said, it just hits so hard. Saul gives Robin a cathartic hug while he's laughing. He says, "That's what she said, and of course I shall. A child of that age chased by the entire world. You have done well, Robin. Well done surviving the whole 22 years and coming all this way." And wow, when you think about it, that is a huge amount of time, especially considering that Robin is not much older than that. This moment has definitely been a long time coming. We get another flashback of Robin crying under the rain, but it's juxtaposed to the present Robin and Saul crying tears of joy. Like I said, this chapter is a masterclass in juxtaposing the sad, hopeless past with the oh-so-satisfying present. In the flashback, Robin says, "Why do I have to live? Mommy, Professor, Saul, I want to die already. I don't want to live anymore," end quote. But this beautiful present moment answers the question for us. No need for words. Robin says she's missed Saul so much. He laughs and says, "Me too." This chapter ends with everyone crying with funny expressions, except Luffy, Zoro, and Jinbei are not crying. We see Luffy smiling and very happy for Robin's happiness. This was an absolutely beautiful chapter without being an action-heavy one. Oda did an amazing job. There will be a break next week, but if you enjoyed this one, you won't want to miss this video that YouTube thinks you'll like on screen right now. Like and subscribe for more One Piece, and I'll see you in the next one.